The starters back on the practice field in Oxnard, California as Dak Prescott and company work the one-on-ones in the red zone and get back to teamwork in Oxnard as training camp continues, and this is Training Camp Live. Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Welcome into Training Camp Live, presented by American Airlines with Patrik "No C" Walker. I'm Kyle Youmans. Mike McCarthy said this was going to be a fun week of practice, and here's the first start of it. Perimeter one-on-ones in the red zone. Patrik, what else could you ask for?
Not much more. I mean, this is where a lot of the action happens. If you're in training camp and you want to see who can beat whom and who can stop the touchdown, this is where it is.
A little stop and go from Jalen Brooks and the seatbelt.
And there
How
you
about
go.
it?
Trevon Diggs is still Trevon Diggs, ladies and gentlemen.
Strap down.
Played the route wonderfully, didn't overcommit to it. Patience, got the hand in there, pass breakup.
This is my favorite part about Training Camp Live is we just waste no time. We're not messing around. We're getting right into the meat of it.
No filler.
Here you go. Stephon Gilmore versus CeeDee Lamb. You want an all-pro battle? You got one. Here you go. Dak Prescott throwing the ball. CD, he never really got planted. Couldn't even elevate.
You know, ball sailed a little bit on Dak there, but again, like you said, that's all-pro on all-pro. That is iron sharpening iron there, and you're going to see a lot of that.
Tyron Billy Johnson versus Kelvin Joseph on the near side. Looks like Dak's having a word with CeeDee Lamb after that play. Cooper rushed to throw this one. Johnson held all the way through, and it's on our side of things. No chance for Johnson to just turn around.
No chance whatsoever. And that ball came directly towards us because we're all about the action
on
Training Camp Live. But Kelvin Joseph there, a bit handsy in trying to contain the young route receiver.
Probably would have drawn a flag in that regard. Here's Jalen Tolbert versus Deron Bland. Couple second-year guys going after it, and it's Bland with the interception. How about that? Got both feet down in the process.
You absolutely have to love that. Number one, that was a great battle in the route for Jalen Tolbert, who continues to impress in this camp and in preseason against the Jaguars. But Deron Bland, he's ready to take a leap in year two, if you can believe it, from 5 interceptions last year.
Now we're going left side, and it was Brandon Cooks on that side. He made the grab, but he was down at the 1-yard line. Israel Mukuamu was in coverage. Now we get the rep with Jose Barbin. D'Angelo Mandel. Barbin going with the near corner, and he caught it again down at the 1. Barbin's got some speed to him.
He does, and the quickness is what was on display there as far as being able to get out of that break. But even more impressive was how he positioned his body to make himself the only true target for the quarterback there.
Now we're going to the right-hand side, back to Jalen Brooks against Miles Brooks. Jalen tried to elevate over the top, but it was just out of reach, the throw from Cooper Rush.
Almost some Brooks on Brooks crime there, Kyle. Brooks brothers, if you will.
The Brooks brothers. Ooh, look at Michael Gallup plucking that one out of the air. We got the quarterback net in the way, which is unfortunate, but he made a nice grab over the top.
He did, and Michael Gallup, for all of the justifiable talk about Cooks and Lamb and the ascension of Jalen Tolbert, Michael Gallup has looked great in camp this year.
Trevon Diggs back at it with Tyron Billy Johnson. Again, Cooper Rush trying to elevate over the back. This is tough of a drill to really see who has an advantage, because the offense in a one-on-one normally has the advantage because you have space, you have room to work,
yes.
you have all of the room to try and make these different moves and make these cuts. But instead, now that room is gone.
Right.
That room, you don't have that anymore. Now you've got to make a play in a specific amount of space, and I think at times that's going to benefit the defensive backs.
Absolutely, but that's what's the value of this particular drill, is it applies that extra pressure to the receiver.
Eric Scott Jr. poked it up in the air, and Dennis Houston almost had a chance to make the grab.
Great focus there by Dennis Houston. Didn't give up on the play when it appeared to be a clean PBU. Continued to play through the whistle, tried to get the reception, would have been a touchdown.
Dontario Drummond with a great move at the line of scrimmage on Kelvin Joseph, but the throw was over the back pylon and out of bounds.
These young wide receivers are definitely something to keep an eye on as the Cowboys continue to try to figure out the depth chart behind Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Cooks.
Here we go. CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Gilmore, advantage Gilmore just because CeeDee Lamb still couldn't turn around and get the ball. Good throw on the back shoulder from Dak Prescott, and Lamb had to get up over the top of Gilmore, just couldn't hold on. And there's a flag on holding. Trevon Diggs tried to hide it, though.
And that one is most definitely a penalty. But going back to the CeeDee Lamb play before, that was a play we've seen CeeDee Lamb make several times in practice. But again, when you got Gilmore draped all over you, it's a little bit more difficult.
There's Tolbert. What a throw, back shoulder. A nice ball, and Jalen Tolbert with the great move with the catch.
And I appreciate Jalen Tolbert giving me affirmation for complimenting him earlier on the strong camp and preseason that he's off to. And you saw that kind of catch over the shoulder, dropped right in the bucket, and he rewarded his quarterback for it.
By the way, the quarterback was Dak on that to make the throw. Cooper Rush will be the quarterback here. Lots of contact. Kelvin Joseph trying to turn around. Jalen Cropper made the grab, but he was out of bounds on the back line.
But give credit to Jalen Cropper, Moreno, for being able to work through that contact, because there were a little bit of hands to the face on that one that might have been called had this been a regulation game.
Simi Fehoko versus Israel Mukuamu, and Fehoko wins that battle. Created some separation, maybe a bit of a push-off, but no flag.
No OPI there. We're not going to do the OPI.
Not going to do it again. Trayvon locking up David Durden, but they did throw a penalty flag late from the back judge.
And going back quickly to Simi Fehoko, he started to come on the back half of that Jacksonville Jaguars game, particularly with Will Grier. I want to see him continue to build on that so he can push guys like Jalen Tolbert on that depth chart.
Let's see. Again, far side, Dontario Drummond held on to that. Or excuse me, that's not Dontario Drummond. That's Dennis Houston who held on to it. You were just talking about staying with it through the end of the play, and Dennis Houston did it for a second rep in a row. There's Tyron Billy Johnson making a play.
And to that point, Kyle, it is very encouraging to see these young guys not give up after contact is made from the defensive back on the ball. They are playing through the whistle.
Jalen Brooks, Stephon Gilmore. Brooks, he made the move, but he couldn't make the grab. Couldn't hold on.
One of the few non-plays by Jalen Brooks. He's been having an exceptional camp.
Talked with him the other day. He got a little banged up on the first drive against Jacksonville. He feels much better now, and you can see a little bit of that. Oh, what a move from Jalen Cropper. Lost Mandel in coverage and was wide open in the back.
Man down, Kyle. That release on that route by Jalen Cropper was magnificent. Able to free himself up, and the defensive back didn't have a chance from the release on.
So now after some perimeter red zone, now we get into teamwork. Dak Prescott and the first-team offense going up against the first-team defense. Significant because we didn't get to see either one of those units on Saturday against Jacksonville, and Prescott very easily will find CeeDee Lamb. We just saw CeeDee get in a couple battles. Now he's got some room to work.
And you're not going to see Dak Prescott in a lot of this first team against the Seattle Seahawks either, so this is a great look against this Cowboys defense.
Peyton Hendershot out there as well, and that one thrown in the ground. He saw Leighton Vander Esch lurking over the top of Tony Pollard.
And LVE has really stepped up and become the lead guy in that linebacker room, and that includes being a mentor for young guys like Damone Clark, Jabril Cox, and, of course, rookie DeMarvion Overshown.
Yeah, Overshown had a fantastic debut on Saturday. Damone Clark looked great in his first preseason action of his NFL career.
He didn't know because he did not have an offseason last year because of the neck fusion surgery.
Yeah, I missed the first 8 weeks of the year. Vander Esch going to drop back in coverage. Tough read for Prescott as DeMarcus Lawrence got in there on what would have been a sack, and Dak got it away, but it looked like D-Law was there.
And you have to love seeing that pressure from the Cowboys defense. It's the defensive line who Michael Parsons basically told Stephon Gilmore that ball is coming out hot from the opposing quarterback, so be ready for it, and there's proof of it that time from DeMarcus Lawrence. Now,
we are not going to see Zach Martin. He's back in the fold in terms of practice, but just not team drills at the moment. Josh Ball is your right guard at the moment. It's great to see Zach back in the fold, having his number 70 back out there. You know he's coaching up some of these linemen every time they come to the sideline, even if he's not the one getting the first team reps.
To say the very least, all of that is a magnificent point.
Here's Dak. Again, pressure from D-Law, but he completed it to Peyton Hendershot, wrapped up quickly by Trayvon Diggs. D-Law's getting in there quick. That's back-to-back where he was borderline with the sack.
Oh, yeah, he's feeling the vibe. He's not going to get any preseason work, if any at all, and he's teeing off in practice whenever he can.
Tight throw, tight window to Brandon Cooks, covered by Trayvon Diggs, but it's a completion for a first down in the drill. This is a full drive, by the way, is what we're looking at. This is 11 on 11, drive down the field with a 2-minute emphasis.
And Going back a couple of plays ago as we watched Peyton Hendershot go off of the field, I would like to see more from Peyton Hendershot over the course of these next 2 preseason games, particularly with a guy like John Stevens Jr. making the impact that he's making in both camp and against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So this is going to be a tough drill. The offense is down by 8. There's 24 seconds left, and we don't really get a great look at the clock. But just to give you an emphasis, I mean, they're right at the midfield mark, and they've got to go 50 yards, and they need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Here's Dak. He wanted the long ball. Instead, he threw it right into the line. Got pressured again. Micah Parsons, Dante Fowler Jr., Sam Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence. That is a nasty front four.
And Neville Gallimore was in that mix as well. And when you talk about Neville Gallimore, he's someone coming into this preseason, coming into this training camp. He felt like he had a lot to prove, and he's been proving it thus far. So if he can continue at a high level, and I believe he can, a nasty defensive line gets that much nastier.
Now under 20 seconds remaining here on the snap. Dak has to roll out to his right, looking downfield, trying to find somebody open, and instead he tucked it and ran for a couple extra yards.
And as Dak Prescott goes out of bounds, who's the first blue jersey you see next to him? Neville Gallimore. Neville Gallimore gets the penetration. He rolls off of his would-be blocker, and his motor chases Dak Prescott all the way out. So that's the kind of energy and the kind of fiery drive that the Dallas Cowboys need to see from Neville Gallimore and everyone. And it's good to see him really taking that next step as he goes into 2023.
Yeah, that front four now is D-Law, Fowler, Parsons, and Osa Digizua in the mix. Tony Pollard is the tailback for Dak Prescott. Osa Digizua got in there, and he'll have the sack. Dak will let it fly. Of course, time running down late in this drill. Turpin was there, but he was out of bounds off to the side of the pylon. That was the last chance for the ones, and really a drive that was upended by the pressure.
And that drive was completely owned by the defensive front. Micah Parsons, Osa Digizua, as we just saw, DeMarcus Lawrence on at least 2 separate occasions, getting in there and wreaking some havoc. And what makes it that much more difficult, Kyle, is when you're a quarterback and you see that pressure, first instinct is to get the ball out quickly. But guess what? In the backfield, you got Gilmore, you got Trevon Diggs, you got DaRon Bland. Where do you throw? And if you choose to throw it, good luck.
So let's take a look at the twos here. This is a lot of the same personnel that you'll see on the field Saturday against Seattle. 9 p.m. Central Time kickoff on CBS 11. Here's Cooper Rush. Time to throw, and he'll work to his right, sidearm sling to the sideline, and it's complete for a couple extra yards, out of bounds, and the clock stops at 1:10.
First thing I noticed on that, Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith ate up 2 bodies on that. And as we've spoken about when it comes to Mozzie Smith, that's going to be one of his tasks, is to eat up bodies to free up guys on the edge.
There he is again, working on a one-on-one underneath to Malik Davis. Malik Davis didn't have a great day on Saturday. He's expected to see more playing time coming up. I mean, this is a big week for him to try and continue fighting for that RB2 spot.
That is correct. Only 4 handoffs against the Jaguars. Wasn't able to get much production from those 4 handoffs, but we've seen what he can do when he was tasked with stepping in due to injury in 2022. Malik Davis has a very high ceiling. It just needs to put it together on tape for the Cowboys to see.
From about the 45-yard line, opposite 45 that is, there's 51 seconds left in the drill, and it's third down rather, for the Cowboys' second-team offense here. Deuce Vaughn in the backfield. What a day he had on Saturday.
Oh, man.
It was
Plenty of ankles were left on the field against Jacksonville.
And Leighton Vander Esch was the first one to get in there that time. Talk about the pass rush. I mean, it's relentless.
It is. It is just next level, and then it's the level beyond that next level. This is one of the most fearsome defensive pass rushes we've seen from the Cowboys in franchise history, and that is not hyperbole.
And this was not linebacker Leighton Vander Esch. This is edge rusher Leighton Vander Esch. Long throw, good catch. Jalen Brooks, far side. Kept his feet in bounds, and he moves the chains for the offense. That was a big 4th down conversion.
Yes, it was, and we were just speaking about Jalen Brooks and the fantastic camp he's been having. He comes over here in team drills, and he makes that spectacular catch, able to get sideline awareness to get both feet down, and that's what you love to see from a rookie.
So as everybody moves down and gets closer to the red zone, there's 21 seconds left, a fresh set of downs for Cooper Rush and the second-team offense. And for the most part, they've looked good on this drive, completing a couple passes downfield. Jalen Brooks working open at the second level that time. Now what can they do just outside the red zone at the 25-yard line?
And that's promising when you consider it took a while for the second team to get going against Jacksonville, keeping in mind they were going against the first team of the Jaguars, but still this is promising.
There's Cooper Rush, good pocket. Plenty of time, lofts it up. Tyrant Billy Johnson on the run, and he's in the end zone for the touchdown.
Young receivers making plays, young receivers making plays. It's going to be a very interesting conversation when it's time to start cutting the roster down as far as who's going to be that definitive 4 or 5. And, I mean, you're going to have a 6 because Kevontae Turpin, I believe, is going to get that spot. But it's going to get interesting.
I mean, overall, you look at the opportunity. Hey, Alex. You look at the opportunity for a guy like Tyron Billy Johnson to work in, possibly be picked up, practice squad, whatever it may be. But that 6th position is still very much so open.
It is.
That was a phenomenal play, but it was also set up by the protection.
It was, but the release was fantastic. That's what gave him the initial spacing to be able to break free to make that catch because the defensive back, he lost at the line of scrimmage.
All right, here we go. Second. Or 2-point conversion, that is, to try and tie the game here in the drill. End of game drill. The touchdown was scored with 5 seconds remaining. Rush faded back, went right back to Tyron Billy Johnson, and he made the grab.
Hey, if it's good for 1, then it's good for 2. So Cooper Rush found himself a little bit of a security blanket on that drive, and the rookie comes up big.
So now it's the first team back up. Patrik Nosey Walker alongside myself, Kyle Youmans, as we continue here on Training Camp Live. This is bonus coverage. I just want you to know.
Yes.
We're excited to give you all this coverage, and they go back to the ground here. This is, again, run heavy. This is exactly what the team is trying to do. They're trying to find out exactly what the rhythm it'll take on the ground to get guys like Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn going. But for the most part, you're going to see that a lot this week.
Yes, you are. And as we sit here and enjoy this director's cut for you ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a lot of a run-heavy offense because the Cowboys' run defense is looking to beef itself up. And, of course, that's why you add a guy like Mozzie Smith. But we're looking at the first team right now. Jonathan Hankins is going to take that definitive role as run stopper. So let's kind of keep an eye on that interior and see what the Cowboys can do here.
By the way, T.J. Bass is your starting right tackle right now, working with the ones in and out of the hands of Jalen Tolbert. Tolbert had a tough job of really adjusting back to that football. It wasn't an easy grab by any stretch.
It wasn't. Dak Prescott put the ball out there, and Jalen Tolbert had a shot at it, but it was not an easy shot, not an easy ball to grab. So very difficult to put yourself in position coming out of that particular route in that particular fashion. But this is what the reps are for in practice.
So here's Dak. Tyler Biadasz at center. Dak directing at the line of scrimmage. Looks to the far side. Quick completion to Brandon Cooks. There's some speed from Brandon turning upfield.
And it's so effortless, isn't it? When you look at him, he goes from 0 to 100 real quick, okay? His quickness, his burst, and explosiveness, Brandon Cooks is going to be an absolute weapon for this Cowboys team in 2023.
He's hoping to go from 0 to 1,000 in his first season
real quick
as a part of the Cowboys.
That's bars, Kyle.
Thank you.
That's bars.
I'm learning from the best. Micah Parsons showing pressure off the edge. Leighton Vander Esch there too. Jonathan Hankins, Osid Digizua up front. Dak gets it out. Dak finds CD. In coverage was DaRon Bland, but CD had plenty of separation.
And that was great blocking and great coverage as far as the offensive line is concerned. Jonathan Hankins, he took double team there, but the edge rushers weren't able to get in the backfield. Dak Prescott had time, found CD Lamb streaking.
So wrapping things up here on Training Camp Live, presented by American Airlines, Patrik Nosey Walker, Kyle Youmans. What were your thoughts on what you saw today?
I like what I'm seeing from these young wide receivers, and this is their time in the preseason to put the good stuff on film because you're going to blink and 53-man cutdowns are going to come. Yeah. But keep in mind, practice squad, 16 players, these guys are going to have a chance at that too. So it's paramount that these young wide receivers continue to build on good days.
It really felt like the defense won the drills today, at least the ones that we've covered up to this portion in practice. But whenever the defense is so dominant up front, does the offense get good work in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is why Mike McCarthy said the Cowboys are not doing scrimmages this year because they're going against arguably one of the best, if not arguably the best defense, at least on paper, in practice every single day. So when you're doing that, do you really need to scrimmage? The answer is no.
There you go. And they'll continue to have some of those extra competition drills, competition throughout the week, and we'll have it for you tomorrow on our final Training Camp Live from Oxnard. That'll be the way you think about it because we'll get back to Frisco. We'll bring you some more content there as well. But for Patrik, for Alex Lilly behind the camera, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long. We'll see you tomorrow with more Training Camp Live.